the younger sister plotted the murder of her twin sister. Twins are often welcomed with great excitement, seen as a double joy for the family or even a rarity. However, for a pair of Korean-American twins, there was always an unusual jealousy that lasted from their childhood to adulthood. A murder and 26 years in prison for the follies of youth, the case of Gina Han and her twin sister Sunny Han quickly became a sensational story in the media. The story gathers gossip about the consequences of a broken family, a shocking event in the Asian American community in California, USA. The shocking case in the peaceful city. Due to its mild climate, Irvine, Orange County, California, USA, is one of the cities that attracts many wealthy people to live. Irvine is also known as the safest city in Southern California, with a low crime rate, a beautiful and safe city. However, at 3:20 p.m. on November 6, 1996, the Irvine Police Department received a surprising emergency call. A girl on the other end of the line spoke urgently that her house had been broken into and attacked by two armed men. The Irvine police at first didn't believe it was real, and thought it was a joke because such an incident rarely happened in the most peaceful city in the United States. However, with the spirit of being present quickly, and the distance to the scene of the crime was only about 800 meters, the police did not take long to arrive at the scene. When they broke into the house, they caught a black man named Bryant holding a weapon, and Sunny Han and her roommate were tied up in fear. Knowing that this was not a one-person case, the police immediately formed an investigation team and began searching for the accomplice of the perpetrator. No one knew that when they looked at the face of a victim, they were also staring at the face of a criminal. Twin sisters Gina Han and Sunny Han were born on April 30, 1974, in Incheon, South Korea. In the 4th grade, their mother divorced her stepfather and moved with both of them to the United States to settle in Orange County, California. After moving to the U.S., the twins' mother, who didn't speak English, worked as a bartender to earn an income and spent many days at casinos. This led to Sunny and Gina being removed from their foster home. Gina shared that growing up, Sunny was all she had, but on the contrary, Sunny was also the one who made her jealous because only Sunny didn't make her mother angry. According to Gina, it was because she knew how to comfort her mother, and as she got older, Sunny was favored and given more love. From there, in contrast to the outward harmony that people often see in twin sisters, Gina and Sunny often had heated arguments and even fought to the point of bleeding. However, the twins' studies were still very positive and they were both honored as co-valedictorians. The story of success seemed to have opened up and promised to take them to a future called the American Dream. But things didn't go as smoothly for Gina as they did for Sunny. Sunny quickly received a full scholarship to Laverne University after graduating from high school. Gina could have gone to college, but she didn't feel ready to commit to a 4-year college, so she chose to join the Air Force and began basic military training. However, that was a terrible choice. A month after enlisting, Gina realized that the strict environment was too much for her and began to regret her decision. She constantly compared herself to and envied her sister, who was living a free university life outside. She was extremely resentful of her sister, who she thought should be very close to her. In fact, this is also a quite normal psychological development. As with twins, people constantly compare the two children to each other as a kind of life template. So it is understandable that when one of the twins tends to compete with each other. Tied down in the military during her young years, Gina became pessimistic about life and fell into depression. Finally, with the help of her hometown friend who falsely claimed that Gina was a lesbian, she was discharged after 2 years. Gina thought that everything would be better if she was free after being discharged. However, Gina ran out of money right after she was discharged, and she started working as a dealer at a casino to make money. Gina quickly became addicted to gambling and lost all the money she earned working at the casino. Because of her gambling addiction, Gina stole money from the bank account of her aunt, who had raised her and her sister to go to school, and gambled it away. Gina's life was spiraling out of control due to her gambling addiction, but her twin sister Sunny's life wasn't much better. Sunny lived a flashy college lifestyle, wearing designer clothes and driving a rented BMW. She had gotten into a habit of buying expensive cars and clothes to fit in with her wealthy classmates. She constantly needed money to go out with her rich friends and eventually ended up working at a bar to make ends meet. Her boyfriend broke up with her when he found out about this. Devastated, Sunny couldn't focus on her studies and her grades started to suffer. She couldn't afford to go to school anymore after losing her scholarship. So she dropped out of college and worked as a receptionist to support herself. The relationship between the sisters became strained after 4 years of being apart. They both planned for a new life, hoping to return to their glorious high school days. However, things didn't go as planned. Despite their identical appearances, the sisters had completely different personalities. Even after going through so much, they couldn't get along as they had hoped. They constantly argued, fought, and even physically attacked each other. The climax came in May 1996. During a fight between the sisters, Sunny accidentally hit Gina's nose, causing her to bleed profusely. Gina ran out of the house and the police arrived at the apartment less than an hour later to arrest Sunny. It was then that Gina learned that her sister had a criminal record, despite her claims of being a good person. Sunny had a warrant out for her arrest 3 years prior for stealing a credit card from a college friend and using it to buy luxury items. This incident sent everything into a downward spiral. Sunny angrily called Gina and shouted, "I'll kick you out as soon as I get home." Gina was scared. She knew she had nowhere else to go, and suddenly realized that their identical appearance could be her advantage. So, while Sunny was in jail, Gina stole her wallet, Idaho, credit cards and BMW keys, withdrew cash from her bank account, and spent it like there was no tomorrow. After being released, Sunny discovered that her wealth was being drained uncontrollably. She couldn't take it anymore and decided to sue Gina. The younger sister was naturally sentenced to prison and sent to San Diego jail. From here on, the relationship between Gina and Sunny became even more strained and reached an impasse. After 6 months in prison, Gina was granted a temporary release to reintegrate into society. This was a program for model prisoners who were only a month away from completing their sentence. However, Gina was filled with resentment towards her sister Sunny for suing her without mercy. She met up with some young men she knew from before, Bryant and Sayarath, and offered them a job, promising to pay them $100. 2 young men, desperate for money to spend on entertainment, were quickly convinced and agreed to help Gina. On the morning of the crime, November 6, 1996, Gina drove Bryant and Sayarath to Sunny's boarding house in Irvine. After arriving in Irvine, the 3 went to a convenience store to buy tape, wire, gloves, and a potato. In a secluded spot, Bryant used the potato as a silencer and test-fired a gun. After testing the gun, the 3 of them went near Sunny's house in the afternoon and waited, assigning tasks. According to the plan, Gina waited outside while Bryant and Sayarath went inside to carry out the act. The 2 young men knocked on the door of Sunny's house, where she was renting a house with another Korean friend. Sunny's roommate opened the door, and the 2 young men pretended to be magazine marketers before suddenly pulling out guns and subduing her, then stormed into the house. Sunny hurriedly ran into her room but was quickly subdued as well. They quickly tied their hands with wire and taped Sunny and her roommate's mouths shut, then split up. One of them controlled the victims while the other started rummaging through the belongings. A little later, Sayarath went out to the car to report back to Gina. Bryant stayed inside, holding the gun and ordering the 2 women to go into the bathroom and sit in the bathtub. It was only then that he revealed his true intention behind the break-in: to kill Sunny. However, at that moment, the sound of police sirens suddenly rang out. It turned out that Sunny had called the police before hiding in her room. Seeing the police arrive, Gina and Sayarath drove away, leaving Bryant behind. Before that, Sayarath had taken Sunny's ID and Gina used the stolen card to withdraw $5,000 from her account while fleeing. Seeing that things were not going well inside the house, Bryant started to panic and untied the wires and tape for the 2 women, begging them to tell the police that it was just a joke. He also confessed that Gina had parole and deliberately hired them to kill Sunny. When Sunny heard that her twin sister was involved in the case, she didn't believe it and insisted that her Gina couldn't have committed the crime since she was currently being held in San Diego jail. This was because Sunny didn't know that her sister had been allowed to leave the prison and was plotting to kill her brutally. Appropriate punishment. During the trial, Gina Han and the 2 young men were convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and other charges. Bryant was sentenced to 16 years in prison, while Sayarath received 8 years and awaited a rehearing to see if he would be granted leniency for his time served in juvenile detention. During the hearing, the prosecutor stated that Gina had admitted to wanting to kill her sister, and acknowledged that she was the one who planned and directed the teenagers to carry out her wishes. According to the investigation, Gina would often say, "I'm gonna kill you, Sunny," out of anger towards her sister, which is why she was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and theft. Gina was eventually sentenced to life in prison on May 8, 1998. A movement to reduce Gina's sentence was then carried out in the Korean American community, with over 17,000 signatures collected to appeal for leniency in her sentence. The Korean community believed that the verdict was made out of a lack of understanding of Korean culture, as Koreans often use such phrases when they are agitated without actually intending to kill. Additionally, Sunny also testified in court that her sister did not really intend to kill her. In the end, Gina's sentence was reduced to 26 years in prison. One of the most surprising discoveries when investigating the Han twins was that they both went through their early years without knowing about each other. They were separated at birth because their parents no longer loved each other. Gina lived with her father, while Sunny lived with her mother. They were only reunited when they were 3 years old. Studies by California State University have shown that even separating twins for just a few hours each day at school, when they are young, can damage their relationship and emotional and mental health. It is easy to imagine the shock and the reasons behind the violent and thoughtless behavior of both Sunny and Gina, especially Gina. One might think that after many years, the incident would gradually fade into oblivion, but on the contrary, for the whole world, it remains a dramatic and shocking story about the relationship between twin sisters who seem to be more connected than anyone. According to the information, people are happy for Gina because after 22 years in prison, thanks to her sister Sunny's efforts in writing petitions, as well as her good behavior in prison and completing her college degree in prison, Gina was released on May 24, 2018. No one knows for sure if Gina's hatred for her sister still boils as it did in the past. Or has she now truly understood the value of life and the good things that her sister Sunny has tried to bring to her? These questions can probably only be answered accurately by Gina or Sunny. And this is Creep Factor. Thank you for taking the time to watch the entire video. And if you like this video, please click like, share and subscribe to the channel for more interesting contents.